My parents told me they wouldn't come to my wedding if I didn't invite my sister, the same sister who slept with my boyfriend. They said family is forever. But I learned something different. Loyalty isn't about blood. It's about who bleeds for you when no one else will. So no, I didn't invite her. And what happened next changed everything. I used to think family was the safest place in the world. The place you fall and someone always catches you. But sometimes the people who share your blood are the ones who push you the hardest. My name is Emma Carter. I'm 28 and I grew up in a quiet little suburb, the kind where lawns are always trimmed and neighbors smile without meaning it. My dad, Richard, worked in construction. My mom, Linda, taught part-time at the elementary school. And my sister, Qley, was their sunshine. We were opposites growing up. I was cautious, methodical, the planner. She was impulsive, emotional, a dreamer with paint-stained hands and too many unfinished canvases. My parents used to say, "You two are two halves of one whole." And I believed them, until the day one half shattered the other. I met Ryan Matthews when I was 22. He was the kind of man who made you believe the world still had kind people in it. He read old novels, remembered your coffee order, listened when you talked. We dated for 5 years. I thought I was building something steady, safe, real. When I first introduced him to Qley, they clicked immediately. They talked about indie music, art galleries, films I hadn't seen. I remember sitting there smiling, thinking how lucky I was that my boyfriend and my sister got along so well. That's the funny thing about innocence. You never realize it's the moment before everything breaks. After graduation, I worked in marketing. Ryan joined a publishing house. We rented a small apartment downtown, started living like a real couple. Qley dropped by often, bringing half-dried paintings, half-finished stories, half-baked dreams. Then stopping by turned into staying for a few days, then weeks. She said she needed time to create, that her art block was killing her. I said yes, because that's what you do for family. And just like that, we became a house of 3. 3 mugs in the sink. 3 blankets on the couch. 3 people sharing a piece that I didn't realize was already cracking. Sometimes I'd come home early and hear them laughing together in the kitchen. It was warm, intimate, too intimate. But I told myself not to overthink. When you grow up being told distrust is betrayal, you learn to silence your own intuition. Then came that April morning. It was raining, and I had a major presentation at work. I realized I'd forgotten my laptop, so I texted Qley to email me the files. She said sure. Later that day, I opened my inbox. She'd sent them. But when I closed the window, I saw another tab still open. Her email, and then I saw it. Message after message, jokes, compliments, then words that only lovers write, pet names, plans, and photos I can't unsee. I don't remember the drive home. Only standing in the doorway, shaking, rain dripping off my jacket, Ryan looked at me. He knew. He didn't even lie for long. "Emma, please, it wasn't supposed to happen. Did you sleep with her?" Silence. That was all the answer I needed. That night, I drove to Qley's apartment. She opened the door. Her face went pale. And instead of denial, she said quietly, "I love him, Emma. I didn't mean to hurt you. But I can't stop how I feel. Something inside me just stopped." My sister, the person I'd carried through every storm, had become the one to throw me into one. I looked at her and said, "You're not my family anymore." Then I walked away. No shouting, no crying. Just silence. The kind that comes when something finally breaks for good. The months that followed were a blur. Work, therapy, sleepless nights. I learned to breathe again. Eat again. Function again. And just when I thought I could, my parents came to visit. They talked softly, circling the topic like it was a wild animal. Then Mom finally said, "Emma, you need to forgive her. She's still your sister." It felt like being slapped, not out of anger, but disbelief. They didn't see me bleeding. They just wanted the family picture to look normal again. A year later, I met Daniel Brooks. He was quiet, kind, steady, the kind of man who didn't try to fix me, just stood beside me until I remembered how to stand myself. We dated 2 years before he proposed. For the first time in years, I felt ready for a new beginning, until my dad put down his coffee one morning and asked, "Have you sent Qley her invitation yet?" And in that instant, I realized, and some wounds don't fade. They just change shape. When Dad asked that question, I honestly thought he was joking. He wasn't, Mom added softly. Emma, she's still your sister. Family should be together on your big day. I laughed quietly. You're not serious, are you? They were. Dead serious. When I said no, my father's tone hardened. If you don't invite her, your mother and I won't come either. Just like that. My pain weighed less than their image of unity. So I either lose my dignity, I said, or my parents? Mom sighed. You're being selfish, Emma. Forgiveness is strength. I didn't argue. Sometimes silence is the only language people like that understand. The next few days were chaos. Calls from relatives, texts from cousins, guilt from every direction. She's young. People make mistakes. You're the older sister. Be the bigger person. You'll regret this when your parents are gone. It's strange how people preach forgiveness, right up until they're the ones who never had to lose anything. I muted my phone. The quiet felt heavier but cleaner. A week later, my mom invited me to a family dinner. She promised no arguments, just peace. I knew better, but Daniel said, "Go. Let them see you're not afraid." So I went. Qley was there. White dress, hair tied neatly, sitting like a guest of honor in a story she destroyed. My mom held her hand. The table buzzed with small talk, wedding plans, guest lists, anything but that, until my aunt spoke up. Emma, everyone knows mistakes were made. But weddings are about new beginnings. You should move on. I smiled politely. If your sister slept with your husband, would you invite her to your wedding? The room froze. My father slammed his hand on the table. That's enough, Emma. You're embarrassing the family. No, Dad, I said quietly. I'm just saying what everyone's too afraid to admit. No one looked at me. No one looked at Qley either. She was crying, silent, shaking. I stood up, grabbed my purse. If my choice makes you ashamed of me, maybe I don't belong in this family anymore. That was the last sentence I spoke to them for weeks. That night, I wrote an email to my parents. If my decision disappoints you, I'll live with that. But I won't sacrifice my peace for anyone's comfort. Then I shut my laptop. And for the first time in a long time, I slept without nightmares, because silence can be its own kind of revenge. 2 weeks later, my mom called again. Just dinner. Only us, no Qley, I agreed. Not for reconciliation, for closure. That night, everything looked perfect. Clean tablecloth, Dad's favorite roast, soft music. But underneath, it felt like standing in a room full of unspoken things. After 10 minutes of small talk, Dad sighed. Emma, you're tearing this family apart. I looked up. You really think I'm the one doing that? If you can't forgive, this will never heal, he said. I took a deep breath. Dad, I didn't break this family. I just stopped letting people break me. Mom's eyes watered. You don't understand. Qley's not okay. She's drinking, losing jobs. We thought maybe if you let her in, she'd get better. I finished. I shook my head. I've spent my whole life trying to let her in. When she needed money, I gave it. When she fell apart, I fixed it. When she betrayed me, I was told to forgive. But no one ever asked what that cost me. The room went quiet. You could hear the clock ticking. Then Dad spoke again, softer this time. I just don't want you to regret this. I know what it's like to lose family. He told me about his brother, a fallout over money that turned into 30 years of silence. When his brother died, Dad never got to say goodbye. I just don't want that for you. I nodded slowly. I understand. But that's your story, not mine. You're trying to heal your past through my life. And that's not fair. Silence again. And then, the first hint of understanding in his eyes. Mom whispered, "We just want everyone together at your wedding." Is that so wrong? It's not wrong, I said softly. It's just not love. It's guilt wearing a smile. Mom's tears fell. Dad looked away. You don't need to pick sides, I said. I'm not asking for revenge. Just respect. For once, let my silence mean peace, not defiance. When dinner ended, Dad said quietly, "We'll be there, Emma. No matter what." It wasn't an apology, but it was something close. That night, Daniel drove us to the beach. We sat in the car, windows down, wind sharp against our faces. He asked, "Do you regret how it ended?" I thought for a moment. No, I just feel light. For once, I didn't betray myself. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. It's the calm after you finally stop explaining your pain. 3 weeks later, a letter arrived. Handwritten, real, from Qley. I left it on the counter for days. Daniel didn't ask. He knew better than to touch ghosts. One morning, I opened it. "Emma, I know I ruined everything. I'm in rehab now. I'm not writing for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. You once told me love isn't real if it's built on pity. I finally understand that." I folded the letter. No tears, no anger. Just a strange, quiet kind of peace. A week later, I agreed to meet her. The old cafe from our high school days. She looked smaller, tired, but calm. She handed me a notebook. "These are letters I wrote during therapy. I never planned to send them, but you should know what I was thinking." Inside were pages of messy handwriting, regret, nightmares, guilt. She wrote about dreaming of me walking away, calling my name into silence. When I closed it, I said, "I can't forget, Qley. But I hope you never do this to anyone else." She nodded, tears falling. No hug, no dramatic ending. Just truth. As I stood to leave, she whispered, "I hope you find peace." "I'm already on my way," I said. The wedding was simple. No drama, no Qley, just sunlight, music, and calm. My parents came. Quiet smiles, real this time. After the ceremony, someone handed me a bouquet of sunflowers. My favorite flower, the note said, "Wishing you happiness." See, I placed it on the table among the white roses. And for the first time, I felt the chapter truly close. 6 months later, Daniel and I moved into a small house with a wooden porch and a garden. He makes coffee every morning. I water the plants. Sometimes Qley texts. Short, simple updates. Finished my art class. Still sober, I reply. Not warmly. Not coldly. Just honestly. One night she sent a picture. A painting of 2 trees sharing roots but growing in opposite directions. "For you," she wrote. 2 trees, same roots, different skies. I looked at it for a long time. Then smiled. Because I finally understood. Forgiveness isn't letting someone back in. It's walking out of the prison they built in your mind. And as the sun set behind our house, I realized something else too. Family isn't who shares your blood. It's who protects your peace.